you guys, this is Orsi and this is going to be my first what I'm gonna do or what I'm gonna use for the month video of the new year. It's kind of weird that we're already in 2026. I had a couple of decks that I used last month or in the previous year. So quickly, let's just check how they worked out, and then I'm gonna show you the few decks that I chose for the next month, even though not sure if I'm gonna stick with my selection, and I'm gonna tell you why. So in no particular order, just how they are in my desk or on my desk. This one is still not back in the case because I'm still using it as a daily pull for today and tomorrow. It was actually very lovely. It's the Raven's Prophecy Tarot. To use it again, I realized how much I love this deck, and I already saw a couple of tags and videos up about, you know, like no buy, low buy year, what you can do with your collection type of videos, and I think I'm gonna attempt to do that. Not necessarily not buying decks, because I didn't really buy a lot of decks last year either, but more so as to be more conscious about connecting with my collection, because I have a bunch of decks and I'm not really using half of them. So that's gonna be a goal. And it was again a deck that, oh, it's Lovers, that I really liked using again. And I think maybe I should, I always want to reread the books when I'm pulling out this deck, but I can't. I have so many new books that I want to read, but maybe, who knows. I mean, I bought the books because I want to reread them, so why not now, as in this year. So this was lovely. It was good for daily, weekly. I used it for everywhere. I think I used it in a video as well, but I can't really remember. But it feels more like a personal deck, to be honest. I don't really have that with a lot of my decks, that I don't like to use it for other people. I think this one is one, and one of the decks that I chose for January is another one like that. Next one was the Buffy, which still, you know, I still want the new edition. I just still couldn't figure out if it's safe to order or not yet. It's not like I make an attempt to find it out. It's just that every time I think about it, it's just like, sorry, so overwhelming that I'm like, I don't know, later. I mostly used it, I think, as a daily pull. I don't remember if I used it as a weekly, to be honest. And I know that I used it in a video. And I don't know why is it always just like shuffled like this, because I don't read reversals, but I always manage to shuffle it in a way that I mess that one up. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a good deck still, and the extra knowledge. This is one of those deck cards that were changed, and the description is not matching the book. So the extra knowledge is always fun, you know, because with the Eight of Pentacles, I don't just see them practicing. I know where they were in their relationship, and that can be an extra layer of reading. Because, for example, the Eight of Pentacles, with this one, if you don't know Buffy, you're just like, okay, she's practicing killing like a dummy, and he's overseeing it. But if you know where their relationship was at that moment, you know that this was kind of, at least how I like how I chose to look at this card, from which scene it is where she started to outgrow him, as, or at least she felt like she outgrew him as a teacher. And that can be something that you come across with if you learn from something, that after a while they cannot teach you anymore, or at least you think they cannot teach you anything new anymore. And I think that's a very good new layer to an Eight of Pentacles. So, you know, that's why I have a bunch of decks, because they always give me a new perspective on something. But it was fun. but it would be nice to have the correct version. Okay. The decoration is flying around. It's a dried out orchid flower. And my cat thinks she can just go outside, but ha ha ha. I'm filming a video, so she cannot. This one is still, I think, so I still think this is a great deck. This is the Endless Tarot by Eric Maley, I would say, but I'm not sure. But I wasn't really using it as a daily or a weekly pull, because I think the deck's strength is in situations where you need a choice. You need to choose between two things. I used it in personal readings. I think I used it in videos, and with those situations, it worked so much better than just, you know, pulling a card and be like, oh, okay, it's the Two of Swords, because the deck's strength is in multiple cards laying next to each other to see which road is gonna be, like what kind of a road it's gonna be, to be honest. If you need to choose between two options or three or more, what's gonna await you if you step down, you know, like that path and you start down that road. So I think I will be more conscious about using it for those situations. I'm not saying it's not good for, you know, like a normal reading, because it's a tarot deck, you can just, you know, use it. But I think that if a deck has a strength, it's wise to actually use it, right? And I think that this one definitely has that option, like choice, sort of, I don't even know, theme. Even though it's an endless one, it's a good one, like for choices. Sometimes you have endless choices, sometimes you don't. The Exile Tarot, unfortunately, I only used it a couple of times. I don't even know why, to be honest, because it's a great deck. It feels more busy, even though not, you know, the scenes are not necessarily busy, just the art style, I think it makes me feel like it's a busier card. Okay, this one is quite easy, the Six of Wands, but you can get the meaning quite quickly, so it's not like it's hard to read. Just I think with this one I need to sit down more and think about you know, the meanings, which I don't really have time to do, or I didn't have time to do when I was doing this, or when I'm using this for a daily pull, for example, because I'm trying to do it differently. Oh, look at that, Two of Pentacles. Differently this year, I try to journal every day about the cards I pulled, about how they showed up in my day, so maybe that's better. It's gonna be better for a deck like this. But I also feel like, because I have two versions of the same deck and I really like this one, I can use this one for a yearly one, because and I will make a separate video about it. It's gonna be a short one, I swear. I did the whole you know, readings in an envelope, 12 envelope kind of reading for each month last year, and it worked out so much better than just doing a yearly reading and seeing it. Because for me, I think seeing what was waiting for me modified how in certain situations I chose. And the previous year when I did that, about half in the middle of the year, it became irrelevant what I pulled for the rest of it, because it was just too far gone from where I was heading. Which is, you know, obviously if you make choices, things change. But with this method, when I put everything in an envelope, it was good for almost like 10 or 12 months, because the 11th month I felt like that wasn't really on point, but the end was again, so I felt like it worked better. But I thought that I didn't want to do that again, but I'm kind of changing my mind about it. So I might really do it. But again, I will talk about it in a separate video. Another one was the Prisma Vision, which is, I was planning on selling at some point. I changed my mind about that about a year ago, because, you know, if you remember what I said about it in my first impression or whatever in video, I misunderstood the meaning behind the deck, and I didn't buy the one that I was supposed to, which one I wanted. Which is not the deck's fault. It just wasn't what I thought that I'm getting. And I was like, okay, it's still a cool deck, but I didn't really connect with it. But it's really good if you are working with, like, not just one card. It's good for a daily read as well, but I think for a weekly read, when you pull like several cards and you lay them down next to each other, and you can just see the progression or the neighboring cards' feelings to each other, which two cards are in the mix or in the sandwich between, you know, what, and those type of things, like a Lenormand kind of way, I think. It helps or adds a new layer with this deck as well. Like 2 3s, 7 6. I mean, you can just read these and, you know, get your information, but if you look at it, it's kind of like there's two, like, summary, like Pentacle energy, and like a very grounded energy surrounding to emotionally, like, or creatively very I don't even know how to say that, moving or fast-pacing energy. So maybe, you know, grounding is needed, or something is grounding you, and you cannot express your emotions or your creativity because something is pulling you back, and something like that. So I think this deck is really good with that one. So not necessarily my choice for a daily read from now on, but good for a weekly for sure, and monthly. And the Crow Tarot, which I wasn't sure how I felt about it at first because of the art style, not what it depicts, but the, you know, like this type of digital thing, which I'm not a fan of still. But as soon as I started to use this deck, I was like, okay, we're friends forever. I don't know why, but it's one of those decks that it just works so well, and I was connecting with it. That's why I was thinking, I think that's why it always came back up, and because I was thinking of getting it, I think in the first year when I started to read tarot. And but then I looked at the art style, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm not really entirely, you know, like, in love with this one. And I'm not. I don't like the art style, but it reads so well that I'm gonna go ahead and chop it off the borders, because it's too big. It's oracle sized, and I have small hands, and if I want to actually really use the deck, that I need this in small size. So I'm gonna do that. So yeah, it's staying, and it was good for anything that I pulled it for, obviously, because we were connecting. Okay, and now on to the new ones for January. So what I did my monthly read was, even though I know it's Imog, it's, you know, February, but I was like, I don't want to wait another month. So maybe this is gonna be in my February selection as well. I think, no, I have 2 oracles. Season of the Witch is the main oracle, I think. I used it in readings as well in last month, but it wasn't an official selection. But it just feels wintry, and finally, maybe because it was snowing for a day, I kind of felt like finally we have this energy. And I don't really know this deck yet, so I definitely want to, you know, sometimes just sit down and maybe pull a card and read what it means, so get more familiar with the deck, so I don't just see those few cards that came up in a reading, because it happens often with oracle decks that I don't have time, or I don't think it's important to sit down, go through every card. Oh, arts and crafts, and get to know a deck, and I only read the guidebook when a card comes up in a reading. So I definitely want to change that with all of my decks. So this year, hopefully, I'm gonna have time to actually sit down and, like study guidebooks and cards and decks, oracle decks mostly. So that's gonna be a first oracle. Another one that I really like, and because it's blue, I guess, it's gonna be, it's been a while that I had this anywhere near me, and I love this one. Again, it's a deck that just works well, and I just don't know why. We bonded, we connected. I can't explain it, it just works. And yes, I modified it because it was too big, and this is something that I'm looking for in the Crow Tarot as well. So another oracle, mostly I think for readings, because I don't read, I don't have an oracle in my daily routine or weekly routine, even though maybe I should change it and add one for the weekly. I could do that. Another deck is a new one in my collection. It was a Christmas gift, which obviously is matching the Season of the Witch Emoc oracle. I don't have a video up for this one yet. I might do if I'm very bold because I don't really do live streams anymore, but maybe I'm gonna do a live stream with all the 3 recently acquired decks as a first impression, and we can just hang out together if you want, guys. But yeah, this is my current monthly deck, and even though the art style, again, not my explicitly favorite, when I saw this one that it was a wintry deck, I was like, okay, this is something that I need. I don't know why. Again, sometimes you just have that feeling, and I'm looking forward to seeing the other seasonal decks, because I might get them, because it would be so cool to have like a seasonal deck, like a dedicated, specific deck for each season with a dedicated oracle. I don't want to get all 8 oracle decks for sure, but maybe one for each season that I can pair it with. It sounds like something that I would enjoy, so we will see. And there were a couple of cards that I saw when I did the flip through, because I filmed the flip through, that was interesting. I think the Lovers was something which I don't think I'm gonna find. But the Lovers is something that where someone is sitting, I think that's the Lovers and not the Two of Pentacles, where someone is sitting in a window looking out, and there's a person outside. So it's not oh, we're together and we're so happy, which is a very interesting idea, and I wanna check why. Oh, Winter Star. And I know everything is winter, but it doesn't just feel like they just added the name and then we were like, oh yes, the winter swords, but you actually see something wintry in the scene. Like nobody is, in the summer, everything is winter, yet you still have that warmer feeling for the Pentacles, for example. That's the inside. And I need to shuffle it. Oh, I love the Winter Witch. She's a magician. I love it. I need to shuffle it a bit more. But yeah, that's for one of the decks that I'm definitely using. No, I don't need that. And I really like the box. I don't know, it's been a while that I actually just liked a box of it. I don't know why. Maybe it's the blue. Could be. But I like the shape, the size. I don't know. It just looks cool. And after that big one, I was standing in front of my shelf, or shelves. I have multiple. And I kind of went like, you know what, I want to try to use my pocket-sized decks. It's been a while, and I have a few. So this is the other very personal deck that I don't necessarily, to be honest, use for other people, or I don't think I will, or if I did, I'm not gonna continue. And I want to get back into the business of hanging out with this one, because there was like about half a year, I think, of like more, maybe a 6 or 7, something like that, months, but this was my everyday go-to deck. We were so connected, I was getting so much out of this deck, and then it kind of changed, and I don't really know why, because I felt like, oh yeah, I found the deck that was my personal deck. Again, not my favorite art style at all, yet it worked. And I don't know why it didn't, and it might stop working anymore. If you have something like that, like an experience, and you know anything, like a reason or a solution maybe, please do let me know, because I'm very curious if, like, how it happens to other people, because I'm sure it happens to everyone, or maybe not everyone, but a lot of people. And I kind of want to go back to that. I miss the connection and the clarity that I got from the readings with this deck. So again, we're gonna like give it a go, and I'm thinking about not using it for daily or like weekly readings, but having it for personal questions. Another one is like a good old tested, it works. I have it in a bunch of different editions. This is the pocket edition of the Lightseers Tarot, and yeah, it just works. So it is gonna be an everyday everything deck. Maybe not in videos, because in videos I'm probably gonna be using the full-sized, because, you know, it's easier to see for people watching the video, but that's the only reason. And another one is something that I didn't have with me. I lent it to my sister, and she didn't really have time to like learn reading tarot, so she brought back the decks that I gave her, which I promptly forgot it. I forgot everything that I lent her, so I was like, oh, new decks. But yeah, I like the size, I like the colors, because this is the Centennial edition. So yeah, this is a good old little tarot deck with the no nonsense, we don't need to be pretty, we just need to work kind of deck. So we will see. I think this is gonna be good for daily. I don't think I want this for a weekly one, but who knows, we will see. Why does it feel like this is so, it kind of feels like this is lighter than the rest. Maybe it is. I was under the illusion that they were the same color, but I guess they are not. Interesting. You see, I didn't really use it. So this is gonna be one. And yeah, these are all the decks that I'm planning on using this month. But again, we will see, because sometimes you plan for something and the life happens and you change your mind, and that is okay. But yeah, I think that's all. Thank you so much for being here. Do tell me which decks are you using for January and why, and see you in the next one. Thank you, bye.